Hello.
Hello.
How do you?
Hi, Alexander. So, just had a little problem because the program was already running and I wanted to upload the video and that doesn't work. So I have to close it again and upload it afterwards.
Okay, no problem. Hello, Michel.
Good morning to you. It's very early for you, isn't it?
Yeah, a bit.
Sorry, I didn't realize that you're in a different time zone. So
no problem. No problem. I'm wondering, is it possible? I'm trying to log in through my phone where the quality is much better. So I was wondering if last time it didn't work. Let me know if I log in now through the same link with the phone, whether you can see me and I can actually, let me see. But you hear me well right now, if I understand correctly.
yes.
Sorry, come again?
Okay, I will also send you the PPT version without the video if possible, because then you can actually download it. Or because
I have uploaded your video now. It should be fine. I can show you how you can how you will be able to start the video.
Right. The only thing is that I had sent you a PDF version.
Yes.
Of the and I think it's maybe better to send you the PPT version.
But the best thing,
or basically, is it me presenting from my side?
Yeah, that would be the best. Because
okay, understood.
Let me show you. I tried. I hand over the moderation rights to you now, and so now you should be able to share your PowerPoint.
Okay.
By sharing your screen. There is a button.
Okay.
Share your screen.
Just a
We can't hear you anymore.
Nope.
Mm. Maybe you have to log out again.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we hear you again.
Okay. For that. Do you see my screen right now?
No.
Okay. Okay, it says people can see your screen. Let me see. Um, okay, just a second. No one sees your screen. Your screen. Okay. Can choose what to see. Do you see it now?
No. You actually should just be, you just have to press this triangle.
Yeah. No, I did. It just says your network connection has been reestablished. Let me see, because I have an internet connection. I pressed the share button.
And if not, I can share your presentation with my screen.
Okay, that's also not a problem. Let me just see. Okay, so
Welcome to the webinar. You have entered as an attendee in listen-only mode.
sorry.
That was loud.
Yeah, so I connected again through my phone. Let me see. Let me see what's possible here. Okay. Okay. I understand you still cannot see my screen, or can you?
We can't.
Okay, that's very weird. So okay. Let me. How would it be if you show the presentation?
Yes.
Should I send you? I mean, I can send it to you as a PPT directly to email, but we can test it with the PDF version, because the PDF is maybe not so easy to.
I think that shouldn't be a problem. I'll just have a go. So can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Just a second.
Alex, you can see your presentation?
Just a second, Madeleine. Yes, I can.
Okay, so I just click through your presentation and you tell me where the video should be, after which slide you want to show the video.
Exactly, the video is where the gray space is.
This one, huh? Slide 6.
One
Okay.
before that.
So let me check. Michiel knows how to do it, but now I have to see how to do it. Let me check if I can. Start the video.
The Green Bond Transparency Platform uses blockchain DLT technology to track green bonds,
Does everyone
offers
see a
space
video?
for issuers to report on the use of proceeds and impacts of their bonds. This allows investors to know at any point in time what has been the performance
Do you
of
see the
specific
video?
bonds, and further promotes comparability and public information about the state of the region's green bond market. The overview page shows aggregate data on bonds issued, including.
Great. And now you see the presentation again,
the
all of you.
Yeah, the presentation.
Okay. Now I also understand how it works. And so I will click through your slides, Alex, then. Okay?
So there is also a way
okay,
to...
and do you hear me well?
A little bit choppy.
Okay. Do you see that I'm logged on also in my phone?
I see you as panelist. No, I don't see you as panelist. I see you as panelist, and I also see you as a participant. But I don't see whether you're logged in by phone or.
Right. It seems that as a part, I clicked the same link via my phone that I clicked as a panel to log in with my laptop. But it seems not to work. But the choppiness, this is something. I don't know if everybody else, if Pete already did needs some support. I'm still figuring out my internet situation.
Okay, great. But if I mean, just anyways, just keep a slow voice, and then we will understand it.
Okay, understood.
Pete, you did not send me any slides, right?
No, that's not correct. I sent slides, at least Juerg should have them.
Okay.
I sent a presentation yesterday, before yesterday. But we can also try to give me or you can assign me the moderator rights, and then I can try to share my screen.
Oh, I see it. Sorry. I have it. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, just as a backup, the best would be if you could share your screen, just in case that we have one.
Yeah, but could we try this out, because I have never done it, so yes. I don't know how to do it.
I just hand over presentation rights to you, and now you should be able to share your screen. Just press this how's it called, triangle button, share your screen.
I have to open my security. Same problem as here we are. Okay. Where do I have to press? I don't know. Here. Okay, wait. Do you see my screen now?
No.
Do you see my screen now?
Nope.
That's strange. It should work now. Now? Hello?
Nope. Nope.
Strange. Everything is green here on my screen. Nothing?
No, we don't see, no, we don't see anything.
I can't understand why, because according to the settings, all should be fine. Strange things happen here.
Yes.
Yes.
Now?
Hooray. Yes, we can see it.
Alhamdulillah. Okay.
Mhm.
So this, then I can go through my own presentation, right?
Yes.
Could we try it again? Because it should not take time like now.
Yes.
So
I'll
please,
take over. Yeah, I
take over
take
the
over
rights.
moderation rights to myself.
Yeah.
And now I hand it over again to you. And now you should be able to share your screen. Yes. Oops. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Good.
Great.
Great. And anything else? Juerg, you can see the chat.
Me?
No, Juerg Fuessler, whom we only see half.
I can see.
Juerg, do you hear me? Hmm.
Can you take back the moderator role, please?
Yes. Yeah.
Thanks.
By the way, I can't see Alexander as well. He
Yeah, I
appears
think
not to be.
he's still trying out things.
Okay. Are you certain now that you have blocked this room for external participants?
Honestly, I hope that this is being done automatically. Normally it does. Otherwise they are woken up by now. They're fresh again.
I will log in again. Just a second. Do you hear me, Madeleine?
I can hear you, Alexander, and I'm still
one
missing
question,
the moderator.
The video sound, was it hearable on your side?
Pardon?
Yes.
From my video, the sound, was the audio?
That was good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will log in once again and yeah. Because I can see myself here. Okay.
Okay. So what makes me still nervous is that Juerg is not answering. Let me check.
I'm here.
Aha, that's
do you hear
good
me?
to hear. Yes.
Yeah. No, I had troubles with the sound. Now I called in via the telephone. Now it
Yeah,
works.
I saw that. Okay, that's good to hear. Okay.
But just to be clear, Madeleine, you are doing my presentation, or should I?
I can share your presentation if you like.
Okay, that would be good. Great.
Does that help? Okay.
Great.
By now you already see like some parts of my screen, right?
Yes.
With lots of background stuff. Okay. I have to close some things. Okay. Anything else we have to check? Juerg, did you see the files with the BIOS?
Yes. Yeah, it's good. I'll say a few words. Maybe I just go through the proceed through the program, if that's okay, just to reiterate. So I will do a short introduction, telling also what Climate Ledger Initiative is really briefly, and then we have 3 presentations, which each is 10 minutes. So please try to stick to that. I will try to somehow message you if you need to get to an end of your story. As I said, there will be time for discussion later, and we would then, after each presentation, allow for short content-related questions, but maybe there are none. And then in the end, we have a general question and answer session. Maybe I start then with a question if there are not already many questions put into the system. So the participants will be asked to write questions into the question window of the system. I will then select some of them in the discussion and direct them to some of you, or you can also answer if you think you have to answer to have a message on something. If I don't address you directly, and in the end, I will for sure ask the question, going forward, where do you see the next steps? What are the big challenges in the future? That will be something then to close the whole thing. That's roughly the plan. Is that okay? Anything to add or important? Good. If not, then let's wait for the next few minutes and then start. Madeleine, if this is okay with you.
This is okay with me. My system tells me that there is a problem with capacity and that I should close my video, which I did now. I mean, they don't have to see me anyways, but I would love to see you all guys, and which now is not the case.
What does it say exactly, the problem?
I closed it.
I don't see it.
Can you still see my screen with the
Yes.
the PowerPoint? Okay.
We see you and we see your screen.
Oh, you see me? Okay. Ooh.
Yes.
Okay, I can't see anyone, but
maybe your window is somewhere under your other windows.
no, they told me I should better close it, so I did. But I started it again, but it will not appear.
I check with you just a second.
Okay.
So I think I well understood that when we start, we will switch off our camera. Yeah,
yes,
right?
That would be great. Yeah, that would be good.
Switch it on when it's our turn, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, I will start the first slide. You can see the first slide, right? Yes.
Yes.
Good. just keep in mind that I can't see you anymore. If there is anything, you have to write in the chat function. It's a blind
Good, but we
flight,
still,
I would call it. Okay.
We still see you at least. So
yeah, that's a little bit creepy.
But so for the presentation, for my introduction, I think it's good to have you all on at the beginning. But then for my presentation, you can pop out and then come in again when you present. And for the general discussion, we would then be all visible.
Yes.
Alexander, you can't hear me. You can't hear me?
But we can't hear him. His microphone doesn't work.
Alexander, we can't hear you.
Yeah.
Maybe you try connecting through the telephone. That would be useful to have him.
Talking about digital transformation.
He's going to restart, is my assumption.
Okay. Are you going to restart? Alexander, yes, so he's okay. Yeah, that's... Let's hope for the best. It's always be the risk factor.
I think we have to be careful if we
did something good for the climate, because we are not meeting somewhere where we got the plane just to get there. So we are on web conferencing. So this is already something.
Exactly. I think I would like to make a quick note. If we would like to chat amongst each other, that we select the right chat room in GoToMeeting.
Yes.
And I'm assuming that you are forwarding the questions in that room, Juerg?
I will forward them orally. I have a list of all the questions and will then ask you the question. I think you should see them too. So there is, but I'm not fully sure if you also see this list.
Can you now see the chat function, Pete and Michiel?
Yes.
What it's written in the chat function?
I see that Alexander asks,
yes.
Can you hear me?
So you should see all the comments as well. Hello.
Yes.
But yes,
okay.
If we want to send comments just among each other, we can choose organizers and panelists.
There's already 40 people in.
Good. Now I think it's time to start. Let's give it 1 more minute. I think we are already on air, right?
Yes.
Good. Let's wait a bit and then we start. Okay, I start. I think hopefully we can be joined then later by Alexander. So good afternoon, good morning. It's a great pleasure for me to start this Climate Ledger Initiative webinar on the use of blockchain as a facilitator for climate change. And there's a question mark there because there has been quite a hype about blockchain. It's clear that blockchain is not the silver bullet that can solve all the problems and shortcomings that are in climate finance, but we think it has a strong potential, and I'm very happy today that I have 3 presentations on that topic. Before that, I want to say a brief word about the Climate Ledger initiative. So please, next slide. The Climate Ledger initiative is now like 2 years old. We founded it because we saw quite a potential of the emerging blockchain DLT technology to help implementing the Paris Agreement and to speed up climate action in many different applications and areas. The Climate Ledger initiative has 3 main pillars. One is an analysis and research. So we are doing research and publish this together with partners. We work very closely with innovation use cases. We also have a bit of money to support some of the use cases. Actually, there's a call out, so go to our website until the 29th of August. You are able to submit your project ideas, and we are a platform for exchange and joint learning, like here in this webinar, bring together practitioners, but also policymakers and academia to move this field forward. We are supported by the government of Switzerland, the EU's climate kick, and others, and work, of course, with different organizations, including the UNFCCC Secretariat, the World Bank, different governments, and policymakers, but also tech people. And the Climate Ledger initiative is jointly operated by INFRAS. This is my company here in Zurich, Switzerland, and the Gold Standard Foundation in Geneva. We are doing a whole series of webinars. Next slide, please. So we have done, and these are also typical topics of the Climate Ledger initiative that we are focusing on this year. Digitizing MRV is one, so using efficiencies in using digital technologies to improve measuring, reporting, and verification of climate-related data, and also carbon markets and the potential application of blockchain and DLT. There is another topic we explored together with the World Bank, and now we are on the climate finance, and we are doing more webinars. We are planning one on governance. This will be later and will be announced also on our website, so please free to pop on there. Can we go quickly to the first slide back? I think today's webinar is quite typical for Climate Ledger. So we go from specific use cases and projects, and this is also what the first presentation will be about. So using smart contracts for climate risk, crop insurances, to more generic platform functions. We will hear with Alexander, and then also True Budget, which is then basically a trusted tool for climate finance. These are all on different levels, but in the end, all try to facilitate the climate finance in different contexts, and we have always a strong focus also on developing countries. With that, I'd like to go to a few housekeeping issues. So we will have the 3 presentations. You should see in your GoToMeeting window a question window where you can enter questions, and feel free to use that function. And we will, after each presentation, which will be about 10 minutes, have the opportunity to briefly answer 1 or 2 content-related questions. But the most important part is then in the end, where we hopefully have enough time to discuss different questions that you have. Also, you can comment. You can also share your experiences with similar undertakings. We will then go through the questions, as I said, in that second part, and I'm looking forward to a lively discussion. With that, I'd like to start with presenting Michiel Berende of the company InFRAS. He, I think, is a rare combination in that he started as an underwriter and process manager for Dutch insurer Interpolice, so he has that in-depth insurance knowledge. Also worked a lot in micro insurance in Asia, Latin America, and Africa, and since 2014 combines this knowledge with using blockchain technologies in that context, which is of course a very strong combination. Without further ado, I'd like to ask Michiel to start his presentation, please.
Thank you, Juerg, for the introduction. As said, my name is Michiel Berende. I am the Chief Inclusive Officer at INFRAS, and it is a real honor for me to be here today with all of you. I'm happy to see we have a nice group of participants. Today I will talk about the opportunities of blockchain technology for climate insurance, which is of course an important aspect of also climate finance. And before doing so, I would like to give you a quick introduction to the context of inclusive insurance, because I'm not certain if everybody has this understanding about inclusive insurance. Then I will explain why this works so well with blockchain technology, and I will end my presentation with some examples from the field, what we have done in projects. Are you able to see my screen? Am I going to the next screen to be certain?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, first a few quick words also about InFRAS. So we develop a decentralized insurance protocol to standardize parametric insurance products. And with parametric insurance products, we mean insurance products that base their payouts on certain parameters. And if we talk about climate insurance, then those parameters could be weather data, amounts of rainfall. I will dive into that in a few minutes. Well, InFRAS, we aim to increase smallholders farmers' resilience to climate change through offering a more accessible insurance product. And as a company, we provide business-to-business technology services to any type of organization or entity that wishes to offer insurance to the clients or is involved in offering insurance to clients. Over here you see a photo of us at work last year in Sri Lanka, where we have successfully launched some blockchain-based insurance products. But okay, what is meant with inclusive insurance or microinsurance? If we talk about this, we refer to insurance services that are offered primarily to clients with low income and limited access to mainstream insurance services. So over here we talk about populations that, for example, live in remote locations where insurance companies have no distribution networks. Or we talk about population and people who have difficulties in understanding how an insurance product works. What are the benefits and how do you receive a claims payment? We talk about low-income populations who find it difficult to afford insurance because they do not understand the benefits of insurance. And then we see also that a big problem is that if they have insurance, that insurance companies have delayed payouts, and that can cause big problems, for example, for farmers. Then another problem is that there is illiteracy amongst the target groups. And if then an insurer is requiring excessive documentation, we have a big problem. And because of that, around the globe, you see that the coverage ratios in emerging markets are extremely low. So of the target group that I just described, if you go to Latin America, you see that only 8.5% of this group has any form of insurance. That could be life insurance, could be health insurance or crop insurance. So that more than 90% of the population in Latin America has no insurance. For Africa, it's even a lower group, 5.4%, and in Asia, it's 6.9%. So this means there is a huge business opportunity, of course, but also thinking about the impact that climate change is causing right now, the largest group of the population has no form of protection against these risks. And that is, of course, a problem for the whole world. So that was about the context of the inclusive insurance space. So why does blockchain technology work so well with inclusive insurance? I don't want to go in depth into how blockchain technology works. It takes a while, and then still it may be difficult to understand it. But what I always say is one of the benefits and one of the things that blockchain technology makes possible is to program money. And when we program money, we call that we create a blockchain-based smart contract. And then a smart contract. I have an example of a smart contract that was already there before blockchain technology came into existence, but that is the example of a vending machine. You have this machine with products displayed in it, and you can select a product that you want to buy, and if you put in enough money, then automatically the product will come out. And here you have replaced the need for a person behind the counter. So you automate it. And this concept is something which you can also apply in code with blockchain technology. And that is why this is also well suited to parametric insurance, where you now can write down or code a rule that says, if a certain amount of rain has fallen in this geographical area, then everybody living in this area will receive a payment. Or if you have a certain period of drought. And I think specifically in climate insurance or weather insurance, here is a huge opportunity because we have now satellites around the globe that can provide you weather data. You have smart weather stations in the field. You have ground sensors. They can all give you the kind of information that you need to define if a payment should be made. And also for disasters, it's the same. Earthquakes, hurricanes and floods. You can monitor it. You have publicly available data that prevents also an argument between an insured person and the insurance company. So what we do is automate those kind of insurance products. We automate parametric insurance products. The second thing that we do is that we make it possible to transfer risks in a risk pool. And I think one of the interesting aspects that you see over here in risk pooling, because insurance is risk pooling, is that you can now think about, okay, under what conditions would I, as a certain entity, would be willing to cover part of the risk for the smallholder farmer. And those rules you can code in a smart contract. And then you can think about new ways, alternative ways of risk pooling, making sure that, for example, in our case, smallholder farmers are protected against the risks of climate change. So over here, I would like to show a quick screen that shows the life cycle of an insurance policy which is automated on smart contracts. So we can create a smart contract that monitors money coming in. So, for example, in Africa, in Kenya, you have now M-Pesa, which is mobile money. And each farmer, all the population has got a mobile phone and they are able to pay with mobile money. So now a farmer can send a text message which pays for an insurance premium. And then the smart contract monitors this coming in and automatically will issue an insurance policy. Then when this money goes into the central reserve or the risk pool, you can, on top of that, you can create smart contracts that, for example, monitor the minimum capital ratios if they are maintained. And also for the money going out, then you have smart contracts that monitor the incoming data from satellites and the other external data from ground sensors or local weather stations. And if these provide you the triggers that you have programmed beforehand under what conditions a payment is made, then automatically and instantly a payment will be made. And this really can mean the difference for a farmer in being able to save his season or that he has completely lost its season. And now you see that in many cases, farmers have to wait for months before a payment gets back. And then they have to go to money lenders and they fall into this vicious cycle. So this is something that we have already successfully implemented in Sri Lanka, together with insurance broker Aon, Oxfam in Sri Lanka, and Sanasa. And last year we have sold the very first policies on our platform, which were blockchain based, and was quite an exciting moment for us to really see this happen. But now I would like to focus on our flagship project, which we would like to accomplish. We have developed plans together with the Climate Finance of the Climate Finance Lab, and also together with Acre Africa, which is one of the largest insurance service intermediaries that is specialized in agricultural insurance, and Sprout, which is an organization that is developing innovative digital engagement strategies to increase the uptake of insurance for farmers. So together we are now looking for donors and or investors to help us accomplish our goals and go roll this project out on a large scale. And for that we also have prepared a video which I am going to try to show to you right now. And let's see, here we go.
Farmers have often limited understanding of how insurance works and little trust in traditional insurers due to histories of delayed or absent payouts when things go wrong. Blockchain climate risk crop insurance offers a different kind of crop insurance that's both affordable and accessible to smallholder farmers at scale. Each insurance contract is plugged into smart contracts on a blockchain and indexed to local weather. During an extreme weather event, farmers can make claims using a mobile platform that facilitates timely and fair payouts. Compared to traditional insurance, this system is much faster and much more transparent, leading to reduced costs and increased trust for both farmers and insurers alike. Sprout Insure proposed the idea to the lab and is partnering with Acre Africa, a recognized intermediary for index insurance across sub-Saharan Africa, and EtherRisk, a smart contract developer for index insurance products, to get this idea off the ground. The pilot will prioritize Kenya, aiming to insure over 1 million farmers who will be able to pay the insurance premium in small installments of as low as 50 cents. Sub-Saharan Africa provides the greatest potential for impact due to its high climate vulnerability, as well as a supportive environment for implementation. But the instrument also has the potential to help smallholder farmers in other regions around the world, particularly in South and Southeast Asia. Analysis by the lab shows that in the pilot, the product will help smallholder farmers cover 13 to 16% of the cost of inputs such as seeds and fertilizer, and up to 30% if operations are all centralized on a blockchain platform, increasing their financial resilience to crop losses from drought and flood. It would also make insurance more affordable. The automatization would reduce the cost of issuing a policy by 40%, which in turn would reduce the premium paid by farmers by 30%. The pilot would also strengthen the food system in Kenya, providing financial coverage for the food needs of 280,000 Kenyans. With this innovative mechanism, transparent platform, and payouts tied to extreme weather, blockchain climate risk crop insurance can help smallholder farmers in developing countries increase their resilience to climate change, something that ultimately helps increase food security and livelihoods worldwide.
All right, let's see. Now I have to go back to my screen. Well, I hope everybody was able to see this video properly. Let's see. Then I would like to conclude my presentation with the following slides, which is something I'd like to show you. If you are thinking about, is blockchain technology now necessary for us? Does it have any purpose? And blockchain is not always useful, but if you can tick these 4 points, then you really could consider using blockchain technology. So blockchain technology comes in place when you are operating in a multi-company consortium, where, for example, all the participants would need a shared single source of truth. And this could, for example, be weather data, or this could be the financial data. When you need a robust and reliable audit trail, blockchain technology is, of course, of high value. Of course, but that is always, I think, if you work in a consortium, but you need a vested interest in every participant in the success of the consortium. And you are looking for a situation that you have not one single entity that is in control of all activities. And of course, besides that, here you have the opportunity to also automate the complete life cycle of an insurance policy. That's it for now. I'd like to thank you very much for listening, and of course, I'm open to answer the questions you might have. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Michiel, for this very great introduction. We have a few questions. Maybe I pick one or two just to keep it short at this point and then come back later. One set of questions is around very concrete. What does your insurance product cost to these low-income clients? I think that's an important question because you need some form of money also to afford it. Maybe some of the systems are also subsidized by the government. So what are the costs? What can these farmers afford? And how do they pay? Through blockchain-based payment systems? I think that's an interesting question, how you actually interact on the ground with the different farmers. And also a similar question is, how do you verify that crops actually exist that a farmer is seeking insurance for?
Okay, so 3 questions. Is insured. Well, to answer the first question, what are the costs of this product? So I think the answer of the question was already answered after showing the video. For the case with Acre Africa, there a farmer has the option to top up its product. So he can already start getting an insurance for the cost of 50 cents, dollar cents. And that goes up to $5. So depending on the size of the land and the money he's got available, he can make a payment in tranches from 50 cents to $5. How to pay? Then also for the Acre Africa case, the payment is done with M-Pesa, which is mobile money, and which is widely spread, used in the whole of Kenya. And that is also accounts also for a number of other African countries. So that's the answer to the second question. And how do we verify if a crop is insured? Of course, when the farmer buys an insurance, then we have his or her contact details, and then the farmer will receive a payment. So if the crop is not insured, he is also not receiving a message that the payment is made. I hope that answers the questions that were raised right now.
Okay, there are more technical questions. I think we take another bunch because I think it's important to use this opportunity. One is about the incentives, or what's in it for insurance companies. Some insurance companies may do that because they want to be active also in these areas, but where lies the incentives? What kind of insurance companies are active there? And also, what is the benefit of the blockchain in that context? So why blockchain?
I'm not sure if I understand the first question. What are the incentives for the insurance company? Or
so the question here is, insurance seem reluctant right now to adopt blockchain because it's a new technology and so on. And the second approach might be low income residents may not be a very lucrative market, but that's just a guess.
Yeah, that is definitely a case. We see that not many insurance companies are actively targeting smallholder farmers, and they rather focus on larger farmers or the top of the pyramid. And because of that, you see like a form of insurance intermediary services coming in, like the party, as I just gave the example also for Acre Africa. So which is not an insurance company by themselves, but they basically design the whole product and make sure that also the distribution is taken care of. And they see the opportunity of working on this. And this is also with support of different kind of organizations. Now they are building a case because also Acre Africa has shown that in the past years they already have been able to sell 1.7 million policies. And then, of course, these kind of volumes start to make sense. And of course, this is also what we want to demonstrate when the moment we get the opportunity to actually roll out this product over a large group of farmers, where we can even also reduce the cost of distributing this kind of product and also improve the uptake of the product. Then we expect that more insurance companies will actively start targeting smallholder farmers. Sorry, what was the second question?
Right, I think we also need to close here and maybe come back later on these topics, if that's okay with you. I would now like to check if Alexander Waser is available to present. We had some technical glitches before, Alexander.
I think so.
We can hear you.
Yes.
Super, great. So just briefly, Alexander Waser is a senior financial specialist at the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB, where he works on designing, implementing, and developing monitoring methods for green finance projects in Latin America and the Caribbean. The floor is yours. Thank you. Alexander? Please.
Yes, I don't know if you see my presentation.
I see it perfectly.
Ah, okay, because I still see Michael's presentation on my screen. If we can start with the first slide, which shows a map, Latin America. So the Inter-American Development Bank as a group has supported in the past 3 years about 20% of the issuance of green bonds in Latin America through framework development, support for second-party opinions, private placement, and methodology development. The whole market is about $15 billion in issuances by about 70 issuances and 50 issuers. Next slide, please. However, Latin America and the Caribbean still make up only 2% of the total green bond market. And the green bond market, in turn, is only about 2% of the whole bond market globally. The main challenge is, though, that for green investments, which is renewable energy, sustainable transport, all what we call climate or green finance, there is in Latin America 10 times the need of the issuances currently for financing these types of projects. In discussions with investors, issuers, and external reviewers, we found that one of the main issues is transparency within this system. And so we started to enter verifiability of the impacts and use of proceeds. So we started to develop the concept of a green bonds transparency platform, which we are currently developing and finalizing. May I see the next slide? The current reporting is quite heterogeneous. The Climate Bonds Initiative has done a study and found that 53% report on the use of proceeds, which is the use of the resources. About 27%, 1/4, is certified by the Climate Bonds Initiative, and only about 1% do an evaluation of their impacts. We can go to the next slide, please. So the idea behind the Green Bond Transparency Platform is to facilitate the access of all of the main stakeholders, which are issuers, external reviewers, and investors, to the data on impacts and use of proceeds, establish a comparability between these, and make it easier to take decisions. I would like to continue with the video. I'm not sure if everybody can see it. It's 1 minute.
The Green Bond Transparency Platform uses blockchain DLT technology to track green bonds, offers space for issuers to report on the use of proceeds and impacts of their bonds. This allows investors to know at any point in time what has been the performance of specific bonds and further promotes comparability and public information about the state of the region's green bond market. The overview page shows aggregate data on bonds issued, including their issuance volume, environmental impacts. The bonds sections, you can search bonds according to a wide range of parameters. The cumulative impacts of the bonds will be shown and updated here. As an issuer, you can conveniently report performance data on your bonds using a tailor-made reporting format. The verifier reviews the data reported by the issuer and uploads the verification statement. The Green Bond Transparency Platform.
As I have not seen the video, I assume that it's finalized, and there is a link at the end of the presentations for those who want to see a longer explanation video. We revise blockchain as one of the main technologies to see whether such a platform can be supported by blockchain technology. Some of the thoughts that we had is that since the issuer uploads the data on the platform, the external reviewers can verify this platform, and a proof of that verification, a log of this verification, can be stored on the blockchain. As my previous colleagues and panelists have already mentioned, blockchain is not for everything. We are developing a platform that enables us to test the system and potentially expand it to the technology evolves to more advanced versions, which might include remote monitoring and sensing. However, at this moment, the technology is not there yet, but we are trying to build a platform that enables an upscale whenever the technology exists. If we can go to the slide of supporting entities. In this process of developing the platform, we are working with market leaders and experts because we want the platform to be usable by all actors in the green bonds space. Among these are issuers, external reviewers and investors, as I mentioned, but also standard setters, other platforms and stock markets with whom we are collaborating to develop a system that is comparable between each other and where interested parties can download the data such that it is complementary to other data providers. We have several publications on this topic on our website. And I would like to leave you with that for now. I'm open to any questions.
Thank you. Great. Thanks for this. And there have been some technical glitches. What would be good, Alexander, if you could post, for instance, the link to the website where this material and also the movie can be found into the chat window, so that people who have difficulties seeing this can access it. With that, I go into some of the questions that came in. There are some technical questions. First is, what are the sources of the bond performance data? Maybe you can explain a bit what kind of data is going in there, what kind of data is used. Another person mentions, okay, but you could also put all that data just on a nice website, such as the GB Transparency platform. Why do you need blockchain for that? And I think here the issue of trusted data comes in. I think that's, and another question asked, how is blockchain implemented in the green bond platform? Again, what is the role of the platform of the blockchain exactly? Please go into.
Juerg, one question. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great, because my WebEx fell through and I'm connected through the phone. I heard all the questions and I would like to start answering them one by one. If I understand correctly, the first question relates to what is the source of the data. We currently, the green bond frameworks that the issuer develops include a commitment by which the issuer reports. For instance, a commitment can be the bond will invest in sustainable transport and in climate smart agriculture. The second part of the commitment is what type of indicators each of these project categories will report on. We are following exactly this commitment. We are not asking the issuer to report on anything that they have not committed previously on. The source of the data is thus also the issuer who uploads the data. Now, the issuer is hiring usually an external review firm that verifies this data. This verification can go to different granularities, depending on what the services hired are and what also is currently the tendency in the market and the interest of the stakeholders. So the short answer is the source of the data is the issuer. The external reviewer, however, is reviewing this information. The second question, and I understand, and it's a very viable question, why do we not do a centralized database on which we just publish all of the data? The blockchain, and I'm answering in combination with the third question, the blockchain technology is something that we are piloting currently as to see whether the verification step by the external reviewer could be reflected on the blockchain. That means once the issuer uploads the data and the external reviewer verifies the data, reviews the data, whether a log can be included within the blockchain of this transaction, of this process happening. I'm not sure if there are any follow-up questions or if this answered the main three questions.
I think that was a great summary answer. I would propose to move on now because I need to check my watch here also to move on to the next speaker. And thanks a lot, Alexander, for this introduction. The next speaker is Piet Kiefman. He's the digital ambassador at KfW. He's been active in his career in development cooperation and specialized on different topics, including rural development, municipal finance, reproductive health, and peace and security. So lots of experience now also combined with his experience in blockchain technology in development cooperation. Piet, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, and hello to everyone. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes.
I like to present to you a tool, blockchain tool, which was developed by KfW Development Bank to facilitate overall management in the development cooperation. It's called True Budget, Trusted Budget Expenditure, but it's not, let's say, limited to budget issues. I will come back to this later. And we strongly believe that this tool will also make sense in climate finance. Of course, climate finance is already a big part of our daily work. The good news is, before I start presenting it to you, is that this tool already exists. It's an open source tool, so you can find it on GitHub, and it's free for everyone to be used for his specific use case. I start with some background related to climate finance. Yeah, in 2009, developed countries committed themselves to spend $100 billion per year from this year on for climate-related issues. And I think there are a lot of ongoing discussions on how to mobilize these amounts, but there are much less discussions on how to best spend these huge amounts. So first thing of all is it's nice to have perhaps this money available, but how to make sure that the use of this money really will have an impact on climate, so reducing global warming. So this is problem number one, and problem number two is, of course, by implementing climate-related projects, how to make sure that this money is really used in an efficient way. So, and True Budget is very much about the efficiency and the sustainability of the use of available funds. In this case, of course, for climate finance. Now, if we look a bit on the landscape of stakeholders, according to OECD, there are more than 500 donors worldwide, and most of them also are more or less engaged in climate finance. And besides this donor organization, we have, I think, at least 20 international climate funds. And I don't even have counted the climate funds which are organized by bilateral donors. So we have a huge number of stakeholders and instruments. And each and every instrument has very specific procedures to be followed. And each and every fund is managed by somebody, and somebody who needs an office, who's traveling by plane, of course, in the sake of climate, and is causing all this is not very efficient, and it's causing a lot of transaction costs. And I think we think that blockchain may facilitate somehow to simplify this jungle of procedures, especially from the point of view of the beneficiary countries. Now, how do we work normally in development or in climate financing? If we do agree on a project, we are working with governments, but not only with governments. There are investors, there are private banks engaged, auditors, companies, and so on. And in order to work together, we normally we don't trust each other. And one indicator is that as we don't trust each other, we sign contracts just to make sure that whatever we agreed on really will happen. So what I try to say is that we spent a lot of efforts and money into activities just to make sure that the funds made available are used for the agreed purpose. Now, how do we communicate all these agreements and procedures we agree on? And there is another problem. Is that every one of us, every organization has his own single IT system, but it's very well protected against outside attacks. Yeah, so it's isolated. So I don't have access to a World Bank account, and World Bank doesn't have access to others. Yeah. So how do we communicate? Then of course we send emails around. Yeah. With the huge paperwork attached, and I get the paperwork, I have to read it, I have to download it to my own IT system. But the real problem is that if I send something to somebody, I don't know what he's doing with this document. He may forward it to another person, but he may change something. So at the end, nobody has real, let's say, the same level of information. And we don't know what kind of information our partner has. And that's where blockchain comes in and our True Budget platform. Yeah. What we propose, and we already, let's say, realized, is to build up a network of blockchain nodes. So blockchain nodes means that all information is in one file somewhere on a server. Yeah, and if I have a server with a blockchain node, it communicates with the other blockchain nodes all the time, yeah, permanently. And now I may connect my individual IT system with this network to get access to the data which are shared in real time with the other partners. So blockchain allows here to build up a permanent communication channel like a cloud, I would say. It's just the same, but it has at the same time the advantage that that whatever I put on this blockchain platform can't be changed anymore. So I have a trustful record of whatever action I like to put here on. And our proposal is now on the project level, on the implementation level, to agree in between our group of stakeholders, yeah, on important working steps in the implementation and the use of funds. For example, budget allocations, agreements to be signed, tender procedures to be approved, reports to be approved, and of course, the payments out of certain accounts. So the advantage of a platform like this, in this case TrueBudget, is that whatever you agree on putting on this platform together in a group of partners is transparent. Yeah, you have real-time access to data, and everyone has the same data. So you have one source of data, and you may trust this data because whatever I put as information on this platform, I am taken accountable for it. Everyone knows, oh, KfW has put this information of a payment on the blockchain, and they can't say in 2 years' time, I have never paid somebody. It's impossible. So this is an advantage compared to a cloud solution, that we have here an audit trail of all procedures. Now, just to show you how this works is that normally if I have a SAP, Oracle, or ERP system in my bank or in my organization, I can continue to work on it, and it transfer automatically the relevant data on the platform. If I don't have a workflow tool, I may go on a web-based interface we built for that. And there you understand that we were working with 3 levels. The first level is the project level. Yeah, so it's very project-focused implementation. So here you can just put a new project on. For example, the Kenyan government, yeah, wants to implement this project funded by World Bank or KfW, whoever. And we put it here on the blockchain tool, on TrueBudget. And if you click on this project, then you come to the second level, and this shows you all components of this project. We call it sub-project. Yeah, the design studies, tender lots, but also the monitoring of key performance indicators, whatever you want. And if I go to one of this component, then I reach level 3, and this is the workflow level. So if, for example, if I have a design study to be done, I can document here the tender procedures, the contract signed, the payments, the reports, the indicators to be followed of this component. And this is done by, for example, a responsible project manager, and he can assign somebody, for example, from KfW, please give me a no objection or approval to this step. And then I get a notification, I verify the attached document or whatever, and I can give my objection, my approval here directly on the platform. And this is all recorded on the blockchain, and make sure that you have the whole history, the whole audit track of whatever decision was made, whatever money was paid in the framework of a project implementation. Now, what are the assets for climate financing? Yeah, especially, of course, if you use this blockchain network and similar or the same platform for tracking how the money is spent and used for a specific purpose, it will improve the efficiency of every dollar spent. So from the 100 billion, yeah, normally I would guess that at least 1/3 would be lost for administration or risk mitigation activities, and we strongly believe that with the use of TrueBudget, you may lower this part significantly. Yeah. Then, of course, it makes the impact, so as you can put monitoring indicator data on this platform, traceable. So it's not only about spending money. Oh, I have reached my commitment by spending 10 million, but you can also monitor what was really the impact of the spent money. The third advantage is that you don't have to bypass partner countries' systems anymore because you fear misuse. You can trust now partner systems because you can see how the partner is using your money for the agreed purpose. And this, of course, makes it much, will lower the transaction costs. And of course, the transparency I'm creating, as everyone can see what everyone is doing, I can improve the targeting of financing. So if I go to Kenya, I can see who's, I think, or let's say Ethiopia has officially more than 60 donors active in the country, so I can see what they are doing. And I can improve my targeting of my funds. And of course, I have a, let's say, track on, has, for example, Germany actually really meet its commitments in regard to climate finance? Yeah, and I have a piece of evidence on blockchain. Yes, there is a certain amount I can really have evidence on the impact it used for climate financing. Yeah, and I think the last point is that if I believe in the efficiency of funds made available, it's much easier to convince our parliament or governments to add additional funds, because they know and they can trace how these funds really make a difference. So this is what True Budget is about. You may find more information on this link or truebudget.net. And we have projects already running, not specifically in climate financing, but in development cooperation in a couple of countries. It's still a bit of a challenge to convince people to work in a transparent way. I think this is the biggest obstacle we are facing, that you have a lot of partners who are not really keen to put information available to everyone. But I think it's also up to the donors to formulate this as a condition. Yeah, it's about governance. Yeah, and of course effectiveness of the funds I mobilized. Okay, so I also have, like all the others, a nice movie on that. It's just for 2 minutes. Don't worry, I will show it to you. And then I'm ready to ask whatever questions, to respond to whatever questions.
Over 500 donor organizations are working around the world. All of them face the same challenge: how to ensure that the partner actually uses the funds for the agreed purpose. Every responsible donor organization therefore goes to great lengths to verify how the funds are used. This verification costs money, money that could go to the actual project. The beneficiaries are confronted with a different problem. In Ethiopia, for example, the government works with over 80 donors. In developing countries, administrations are overwhelmed with the sheer number of these processes, which further increases the risks for donors. Most donors respond to these risks by channeling their funds through their own parallel systems and not through the budgets of the developing countries. As a result, many developing countries do not have real control over investments in their country, but are financed from the outside. This is where True Budget comes in. True Budget was developed by KfW for two purposes: to allow developing countries to take full control on external funds, and to reduce the fiduciary risks for donors to such an extent that they can monitor how their funds are allocated through the partners' countries' budgets. As a result, donors need less money for monitoring. More funding is left over for the intended purpose.
True Budget. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. And fire away with your questions.
Thank you. There are already quite some questions. I really liked your analysis saying that there's a jungle of procedures out there. I think that's something which resonates with many people working in development cooperation or general in cooperation. And also, we don't trust each other. And I think that's really also the big potential of blockchain, but it's not only a technical issue. And the first question is on the technical side. You have different partners. The question is, does the true budget is the API, so the link to the other systems, is that different for each participating agency, or have you somehow been able to standardize that? And the second question is the same, but from more a process and institutional background, in order to agree on certain standards. Do you have a process there also to agree on what to put in the true budget system? Maybe we start with these. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. We try to have a more generic version, which allows users to adapt it to their specific, let's say, requirements, for example, of a government in Burkina Faso, and which are different than in Georgia or in other, let's say, areas or with other partners. And also to keep it open to whatever participants or stakeholders may be connected to this group of, it's a private blockchain, to this group of stakeholders. And each and everyone has a different IT standards or IT systems. There are even some with no relevant IT systems. And the True Budget allows that everyone, whatever system you run, you are able to connect and to work with. You may use the web-based interface, you may use your own system, and only if you don't want to have double work, so to avoid that you go on the web version, then you can connect it, or you should connect it via API to your own system. But this is for each and everyone different. Yeah, of course, it depends on also on what data you put on, and this is the second question, you put on the platform, right? And there also, the government of Burkina Faso perhaps has other requirements than, let's say, the Brazilian Development Bank. So this is something we support also use cases in the discussion. Who is my stakeholder? Who is supposed to be participants? And what kind of information I like to share, right? This is open. You have for each and every use case, you have to do this work, to do this analysis, and you have to take decisions. So it's a generic tool which has to be adapted for each and every use case.
Okay, thanks. Another one is
perhaps technical. Sorry, yeah. From technical point of view, this blockchain is based on multi-chain, and it's a very robust blockchain platform, and it's designed in a way that the API is not a piece of cake, but it's very easy to do, right? So if you compare it with Ethereum, where it's much harder, much more difficult, so we by purpose look for a technology which is simple to design.
Mm-hmm. An important question is, do you have already examples of partnerships using True Budget in different countries? I mean, just briefly, and how do you start if you are interested in using True Budget in South Africa, for instance? What are the first steps?
Yeah, you know, blockchain will requires also somehow a change of mindset. Yeah, and so what we do is we say start simple and small. Yeah, just to take people on board and to understand what this might facilitate in future. Yeah. So normally we start with a business case where we just reflect today's situation, and then the partner will see how he may replace cumbersome procedures by using the new transparency. Yeah? This is step by step. And it's a discovery for each and every user. It's a discovery on what is the potential and what is the value added for my purpose intention I have. So there's no, let's say, solution right there. You have to work on it. Yeah. So the first step is, of course, to see, do I have a use case? Yeah. And this would be, okay, do I work with external partners with whom I need somehow to together in a trustful way? If I have this setting, or do I have somebody to report to? Am I accountable, for example, to somebody? KfW is accountable to the ministry. Yeah, but on the other hand, you have to control our partners in the use of money. If you're in such situation, I would say TrueBudget makes sense. Yeah, because you can replace this reports you are writing with the transparent data. And whoever is asking you for a report, you can say, just go into the network and take the data you need. Yeah? Don't ask me anymore. You have real-time information on the most important data. Yeah, don't bother me with any written paperwork anymore, right?
Okay, great. And we have very few minutes left for general questions now. I'd like to all presenters to start their cameras. Maybe the participants can write one or two more questions or also comments for the discussion. I would like to raise one issue which pops up in all the presentation, which is the transparency and efficiency issue. Of course, that's the strong benefit, but also it in some countries may, of course, hinder the application of such systems because transparency doesn't work well in all governmental structures, for instance. Maybe I'd like now to ask Alexander and Michael also to start their cameras, and maybe you can add from your point of view what your experience is. Is this a barrier in the distribution of the systems, or how do you work around that? Maybe Michiel?
Could you please repeat your question?
Yes. So the point is also with your index-based insurance system. There are examples, for instance, in India, where transparency is a big issue because there are multiple actors active in micro insurance now. There is the government and so on. And the use of blockchain would help to make all that more transparent. For instance, also that the end beneficiary, the farmer, sees, okay, I get that payment, but then it's much more difficult to siphon off, for instance, other revenues and costs in between, because it's in a certain way also a de-intermediation, right? Is that, I mean, that's a big benefit, but it may also be a barrier for the use of these systems in some countries.
Well, so what we learned when we were in Sri Lanka, one of the problems was that we saw that it is possible for an insurance company to deviate the payouts. So that either, well, actually based on the weather data, and a farmer should have received 100% payment, the insurance company would have decided to make a payout of 80%. And before blockchain, they could do this without making it transparent. And now it is transparent immediately, as an insurance company can still deviate, but then each participant can see that he has made a change. And that was In the beginning, a little bit difficult for the insurance company, but at the same time, it created more trust at the farmer level. So what was happening when we worked with the farmers over there now, the farmer had, for example, its crops insured for a period of 3 months. And during every day now, the farmer received a text message showing, well, this was the weather situation for today. And based on the weather from the past few weeks, you already are allowed to receive 20% of the claims payment. And so by the end of the life cycle of the policy, a farmer would already know exactly how much he or she would receive. And because of that, the next year, a farmer would be willing to buy a new insurance product. So it is, of course, a part of a mentality that has to change within the insurance company. And I believe that I heard something similar mentioned also by Peter in his presentation. What you see also is that it allows also for immediate processing. And instead of that you have an insurance company with various departments, a lot of papers stay on a desk for a period until the moment that this employee has time to handle this information. And so that are things that have great benefits. I hope this is a good example.
Yeah, I think that's very useful also to see these practical issues, right, and what the role of blockchain can be, but also the challenges. Alexander, do you have something to add, or shall we go to the final round?
I would like to add just briefly the perspective from the green bonds market. There, since there is a commitment, this commitment is not regulated, it's currently not something, it's currently voluntary, nothing happens if a green bond does not follow up on its commitments. Our platform tries to make it visible and comparable between different actors. Over time, we hope that this will create a race to the top, in the sense that through the visibility, the actors will decide whom to work with. This is not to say this is a decision, it's a commercial decision, which we want to support. However, we do not endorse one or the other bond. We from our side cannot say that one bond, their environmental proceeds or their financial proceeds is better than the other. Now, from the willingness of the actors to report, we have seen a great willingness in all of the countries that we work in Latin America. Our mandate is in Latin America, and that's also one of the reasons why we want to work together with other platform providers. Our platform is a public good and as such free for everybody who uses it and everybody who uploads data. This is important, as we do not want to put any additional barriers for the issuers to upload the data. And we hope that through this, we can incentivize transparency and motivate actors to go on the platform and use it actively.
Great. So thanks, and thanks for these very nice examples you all brought. Let's go to the final round. You have 1 minute each only. Look in the crystal ball. The systems you are working on, where do you see that in 1 year and in 3 years? What are the challenges, but also where is the potential? Let's start with Michael.
Great. Well, thank you. Okay, let me pick my crystal ball. I also use that for my cryptocurrencies. Doesn't work that well often. Anyway, no, I think the major change that will happen is that thanks to blockchain technology, it will become less expensive for parties that want to develop insurance products specifically for low-income populations. Currently, regulators ask each party that want to deliver insurance services for quite a high risk pool, and this capital requirements cannot often be met by organizations that are targeting those low-income people. So once we can demonstrate that the capital or the risk pools can only be used for what it is supposed for, I think the demand from a regulator of the size of the risk pool will become lower. And because of that, it will become more easy to develop good products for those billions of people who have no access to insurance yet. And that is something that we also want to help accomplish.
Definitely, thank you. Alexander, you have 1 minute.
Very briefly, from our perspective, the next challenge is for investors to see visibility of sub-projects at the project level. That means that, for instance, if we were to support covered bonds, which lower actually the cost of the interest payments for the issuer in comparison to a plain vanilla bond, then blockchain can support to give visibility to the results and the impacts, and thereby lower the cost of capital.
Thank you. And Piet, your minute.
Yeah, I think the real advantage of blockchain in our work is the accountability, the increase in accountability. And if you combine it with transparency, it's a completely other world. I think that our world is, let's say, somehow biased by risk mitigation efforts. So whatever we do in business, we try to minimize risk. Of course, I'm also biased because I'm working in a bank, yeah. But I think it's for all participants the same. And if we now use this advantage of an immutable audit trail of a blockchain, this may completely change our way of doing business. So I think technically the solutions are already feasible, they are already there, but in our mind setting, in our way of thinking, in our way of behavior and so on, it will take time to accept these new opportunities, yeah, and to get familiar with the fact that whatever I do somehow is traceable, right? You may even don't want to have it. I would understand somehow, yeah. But in a, let's say, public area, and we are working in the public area, I would say, and this is a political statement, yeah, it's about political statements, that we need this traceability of actions, right? And this for me is the real new horizon of blockchain, the new promise of blockchain. And of course, we are doing a lot in getting there. This will take a lot of time, yeah, but I think it's a huge opportunity. Thanks.
Thank you, and thank you all three speakers for your excellent contribution. I thought it was a very interesting mix of use of blockchain on different levels for climate finance. I'd like to close here now, also thanking the participants. We had really a nice bunch of people who had also very interesting questions. Thank you for that. We will also put the video on the website, climateledger.org. I would like also to invite you to Google the presenters' websites to find more information, and also contact them directly if you have further questions. I'd like in general to point you to the website climateledger.org. There you can also sign in for our newsletter. Then you get also the information about our next webinars, probably something on governance. We are doing a knowledge piece there. And also there is an open call for use cases running, which can be supported by the Climate Ledger initiative. If you have an interesting project using blockchain for climate action, go to our website. The deadline is the 29th of August, so hurry up. With that, I thank you all, and I'm happy to close this. Thank you.